What if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I am Sherry Elise. I am a five-time published author and host of the award-winning talk show Good Morning Joy. And I am here in partnership with Brave Healer Publishing to introduce you to some of the amazing authors in one of their newest books called Journal of a Visionary: Strategies for Next Level Mindset and Manifestation. And before I introduce you to these fabulous people sitting in front of me, I first want to give a shout out to their lead author, who happens to also be the CEO of Brave Healer Publishing, Laura DeFranco. So grateful for you creating and leading this book, because there are so many visionaries out there who might be stuck, who need strategies and advice, or just maybe want to up level their game. So thank you, Laura, for bringing all of these amazing people together. And speaking of them, I'm going to share a little bit about them. Dr. Oliver T. Reid is an international multi-bestselling and award-winning author, a motivational speaker, and founder of I Am a Solution consulting firm, known globally as the writing coach for helping entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches. Edie Odura is the CEO of Via de Odura, where she helps residential construction contractors build the operational support infrastructure to step out of the day-to-day and lead their companies with intention. And Margie Hamner is a visionary author, speaker, and children's empowerment advocate on a mission to help children embrace their inner lights and believe in themselves and their dreams. Woof, I got some powerful people here with me today. Welcome, everybody. I am excited to talk to all of you. I want to share that first, I've read everybody's chapters, and you all, and I don't say this to everyone, sorry, other authors, but like each one of you gave me such insight and things that I hadn't thought about. You opened up new spaces for me, and I was reading them all last night, and I just sat there going whoosh, whoosh, like one goosebump after another. I wrote down your strategies. I'm excited to talk to you about them today. You are all visionaries, and I know the work that you're doing is going to change people's lives. So with that said, I'm going to start with you, Edie. Welcome. Share with me the name of your chapter and your chapter number, and talk to me a little bit about it and why you decided to say yes to this book.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. My chapter is chapter 21, Business as a Being, Interdimensional Collaboration. And this is kind of the results of my really nerdy scientific side and my spiritual woo-woo side. And so in my chapter, I'm talking about a tool that's been really profound for me, which is connecting to my business as not just a collection of systems and processes, but as an expression of higher dimensional insight and wisdom. And I won't get into all the science of it, or else that will, yeah, I'll be down a rabbit trail. But I really wanted to be a part of this book because I've seen Laura pull together amazing books. And I really feel like this tool has been helpful on my journey as an entrepreneur, as a visionary. And in sharing with my friends and my peers, have seen the tremendous results for them as well. And so that's why I was like, yes, I said yes to broadcasting this further.
Yeah, for sure. I sat with this last night and asked myself the questions. I had never heard this ever, to think of your business as a separate being, as this. I loved this idea of other timelines and it
Mhm.
and the little, I don't want to give it all away, but the little
Yeah.
synchronicities and all of the things that show up for us. Because I do think that whether you're a visionary or not, you're an entrepreneur, that being in your business can sometimes feel like, oh, you're trying to
Mhm.
work at it. So you provide this way for us to see it differently, to be an expression. And I just want to say that it was remarkable for me. And I'm excited to see how my business will transform from that.
I love that.
What what has been the biggest surprise for you in coming to this understanding about your business?
Yeah. That's a great question. I will say the resulting wisdom and clarity that I got. I think it's so easy on our journey to get stuck and to feel like um the next course, the next coach, the next whatever is going to be like our silver bullet. And it was a bit surprising to me that I was able to get unstuck. You know, sometimes we can get into this place. I know I've gotten to this place where it's like, if I don't have this next new thing, like nothing is going to move forward, or waiting for that next breakthrough. But realizing that I have so much of what I need, and is readily accessible, was really transformative. I feel like I got off the hamster wheel of consuming and consuming and consuming content, and being able to actually tune into myself and tune into my business and take those steps. Because outside wisdom can only take us so far, right? We need to apply it to our unique situation, and this bridged that gap. And so it felt, it's not a silver bullet, but it did feel like an important piece of bridging that like internal and external world in my business.
Sounds like a silver bullet to me. Dr. Oliver, welcome. Share with
Hello.
us, yeah, share with us the name of your chapter and chapter number, and talk to us a little bit about what yours is about and why you've said yes to Laura.
Yes, special thanks to Laura for allowing me to be in this project. Super excited and humbled to be a part. In chapter 24, I talk about deals are done in the dark room and dark rooms of our life. So I'm talking about business acumen that goes beyond what we can see, and the comparison between vision versus sight. Anybody can see what's in front of them. But like we go to optometrists, they always check your vision as opposed to checking your sight. They look at what you can see after something or one of your eyes is obstructed. And, when something's in front of you that doesn't look quite great business when it's not going the best. And I felt like that was the need. And I experienced it so much in my life, the difference between vision. I was just thinking today and talking to a loved one about Colonel Sanders, for example, who was told at least 100 times in 100 cities that fast food chicken would never happen. And now there's companies all over the world. So just really pushing visionaries, as well as going back down memory lane in a chapter. I had a passion for photography, and so I remember doing the pinhole camera type of thing when I was in high school, which is taking something physically tangible and capturing the light. But too much light causes light exposure and it will interrupt the perfect photo. And so I learned to dwell in dark places to understand that the reverse of that is the epitome of the divine, bringing something masterful in our worst situations. So super excited to encourage entrepreneurs in that journey to just focus on the vision more than just what's in front of them, the sight.
Yeah, I sat with that last night because you often hear about darkness is the absence of light and how we want to move through and shine light, and you had me look at darkness in a whole new way as this incubation period. And all of the things that we often hear, because we do hear, once you've been through dark times, you come out better the other side, but we're always trying to get to that other side. And so I felt like I got this permission to actually know that sitting in the darkness, that perfection is going to come out the other side. And I was like, oof. So yeah, it was really powerful to have that analogy. And by the way, I went to school at the same time. I don't know if they still do it in school, but like, yeah, dark rooms and all that. And
Right.
yeah, it was a really great read, an inspiring read, and no pun intended. Yeah, and just thank you for that. What I'll ask you the same question. What's been the biggest surprise for you when you think about um, how you've learned this? Has there been like what has come out the other side for you in really accepting this part of ourselves?
Yeah, I go back to when I was in, I believe it was middle school, when I was taking a photography class, and I still remember to this day the smell of the solution and how, light is pulled out of darkness. I used to think the adverse, that it was actually, light was first, but a lot of times the darkness in our lives makes way to the light. And that manifested in my physical body. I lost sudden vision in my right eye, a condition called glaucoma, which is called retinopathy in my eye, and I
Mhm.
lost total vision. And being a creative, being a ghostwriter, being a publisher myself, and now having to face something that I couldn't control, that no pun intended, that I didn't actually see coming. And so from there, I had to realize that, hey, that wasn't the end all, be all. So every morning I wake up, how it hits different for me is that I have this duality of light and darkness flowing at the same time. As I look out of my left eye, I see everything, and out of my right eye, I see nothing. So I have a couple of seconds to dwell either in what I can't see or the vision of what I was created to do. And I realized that my vision was never in my eyes. It was in my voice, it was in my creative ability and God-given gifts to the world. So that's how it personalized for me.
Oh, this is mic drops.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm like vision, sight. Like you learned it all in that in through this experience. Wow, Marge, E. I'm like giving you a nickname too, Marge. We're on a half name basis. Margie, welcome. Thank you so much for being here to share with us the name of your chapter. Same questions. Talk to us about it and your why.
Okay, well, great. Thank you, Sherry, and thank you,
Yes.
Laura, and thank you, Dr. Oliver and Edie, for joining today for this great interview. My chapter is 7, An Unexpected Vision That Changed My Path, Strategies to Transform Obstacles into New Directions. So I think we kind of all talked about that, right? About having obstacles that come up as entrepreneurs and visionaries. And I share that in the second part of my chapter. The first part is really being brave and being courageous to really put it out there, what changed my path, which was an unexpected, unusual vision I had on a random Zoom call. So I wasn't expecting, to have a vision during a random Zoom call, but this was where I saw myself, my identity as a human resources professional coach and trainer being really zipped away, taken off, and out came this other identity of myself, another version of Margie as a older, wiser woman standing in a field with children and holding a glowing ball of light. And I'm like, then when the Zoom call was over, I was like, what the heck was all that? But that it ended up prompting me to move into the changing of my new path, where I went from empowering today's leaders to empowering tomorrow's leaders, our children and our grandchildren, in the same ways I was empowering those executives or business professionals, helping them with confidence, self-esteem, belief in themselves and their dreams. So I created a book series of my own based on those, the Magic Ball of Light, Summer Camp and Winter Holiday, kids' books for kids 7 to 11. But then I ran into some roadblocks and then I ran into some obstacles, just like the others have said today. And that's what happens to other entrepreneurs. We think we have the path, we think we know the path, we figured it out, but then we're going to have setbacks, we're going to have obstacles. So I developed something called the light framework, which I share in the book, which helps people and helped me find new direction, a new path. Because sometimes we don't get the whole picture, do we? We get little pieces of the puzzle, and then later on, those puzzle pieces start coming together. So that light framework, honestly, I developed it in writing this chapter. I realized what I did to kind of pivot, what I did to kind of see new options and new ways. When I had that vision and I wasn't handing the kids a book, I said I
Yeah.
wasn't in a circle with kids handing them a book. I was handing them a ball of light. So it's more than a book. It can be other things beyond the book, which I share in my chapter. So it was so exciting, and I'm so honored to be part of this journey in this book.
I loved as you used the word brave. I loved your bravery to trust that vision, even though you had no clear sight of what
Mhm.
that was going to be and how that would, but you trusted in it to follow that. And I love how all of your chapters overlap in some way in terms of, as Dr. Oliver said about, having faith in that, you may not be able to see it, but trusting that sight. And Edie, I think about your these flickers again, these little, signs that we get of what is there, and then being able to walk towards that, for all of you. You know, they say that the mark of a master is having a beginner's mindset. And so I think so many visionaries use curiosity as a superpower of theirs. Edie, I want to ask you, is there a superpower that you would say that you use to serve every day besides curiosity?
Hmm. When asked, I do say my superpower is simplifying complexity, and I hope that comes through in the chapter because you know uh, dimensions from a scientific perspective and string theory are complex, but I try to make it accessible. But I do think that would be my superpower and why I love doing what I do, helping businesses with their structures and their people, but from a very intuitive and heart-centered place. I think that when we look at nature, we see the simplicity, right? Sun, water, frankly, is what grows trees, right? And it's so simple and simplistic, and we lose sight of that we are nature and that we need very few things. We need far less than we think, especially in the Western world, right? We get very bogged down. So I think that would be my superpower is seeing situation and seeing what is essential here, what can be pruned, both emotionally, infrastructure wise, et cetera.
You didn't overwhelm this brain at all. I felt all sides of it. Like I felt like you broke it down in such a way that it gave that inspiration and that, air. That's what's coming to
Mhm.
me. But I also felt very grounded in what you were sharing. So it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Oliver, what about your superpower? Is there a superpower you have?
I think one of the superpowers that really, really focus on is really the ability to transform pain into a message, a message, I like to call it. It's whatever I've endured in my mess or age, in a sense of dispensation of my life. I've learned how to transform that, tilt it on its axis, and be able to use it in a very skillful way. And I think that that has been a superpower that I didn't really want or stand in line to beg for. Because I tell people there's so many, we hear the word prophetic or intuitive or, all those intuition,
Mhm.
but a lot of people never talk about the fact of embodying that. And
Right.
so through my life, I've been through so many different things that I've embodied in a painful way, that on the outside, like everybody on this call, you wouldn't know it, based on maybe looking in the screen right now. I have a different approach of looking in the screen and sharing than somebody who had not been through the level of embodiment that I've been through. But at the end of the day, being able to use that as a strength and not see weakness, becoming unconditionally vulnerable and perfectly flawed.
Hmm. I think you 100% empower people. And I felt it like even I just thought of seeing life and circumstances through a new lens, through different eyes. And I think that as visionaries, I think that we in order to be successful for anyone is learning to adapt, learning to learning to embrace the pain and but turning it into that transformation. Because I think we come across obstacles in our lives that could stop us. And especially as I'll keep saying the visionaries, because how many times are we downloading ideas? And then it's like, well, which ones are we following through with? Which ones are we taking action on? I'm going to actually ask you that. Are you someone who gets tons of ideas all the time? And if so, like, how do you decide what is that process for you?
I get, right now, I've written over, God has blessed me to write over 100 books, 60 of my own, and been in 30 collaborative works.
So you just take action.
But I still am at the bottom of the basement of my next level, right? I've mastered that, but then I still have on my personal agenda 150 titles. So I'm not even close. I think that the staying hungry, my mother had a saying that says, we grew up in the inner city project, and she would say, hey, whatever she can pull out of the refrigerator to eat, she would say that to our family, she would say, hungry people eat. So if you're not hungry, you don't eat. And so I think the biggest thing is knowing that I don't have to finish to be finished. So I work on multiple projects at one
Hmm.
time, and just being able to say, if I can touch it, I don't have to finish it. Let me put it in a note. If you're an
Uh-huh.
iPhone user, I have so many different notes,
Me too.
so much unfinished stuff, but at least it gives me that scratch to the itch that I put it in a note and
Yeah.
coming back to it.
Love that. Thank you. Margie, what superpower do you use when you think about how you serve every day?
That's a great question. And I think for me, it's a superpower I've pretty much had ever since I was a little girl. And I use it in my career, my former career in HR as an instructor, is taking complex information and making it, uh, I guess, palatable or in bite sizes for people to be able to understand. I think that was always something I was good at. Now I'm doing that still, where I'm in a way reporting, helping kids identify these complex things of confidence. How do you describe that to a kid? How do you describe self-esteem in a story, or intuition? When I wrote for Brave Kids book, I wrote about how to trust your intuition. And, I really had to break it down in a story like, oh, you have this feeling like I should take my raincoat. It's gonna rain. But no, it's not gonna rain. It's sunny. But then you realize it rained. And maybe you should have listened to that little voice. So being able to kind of help people, really used to be people, now kids, I guess they're still people, little people, really gain those life skills. I mean, that I guess I wish I had. I wish someone had taught me confidence and self-esteem and intuition when I was a little girl.
That's 100% a superpower. Our children need that and something, like you said, palpable that's easy to understand and that's entertaining and creative. Uh, Creative visionaries. I mean, those are, I have a soft spot for our children. Talk to me about, as someone who is reading this book, will read it, are going to buy the copy today watching this. Share with us what is the most important thing that you want them to know about transforming obstacles into new directions?
This is
Yes.
directed
Oh, I'm
towards
sorry.
me.
Yes,
Oh,
Margie.
okay. I
Yep.
just
Straight
wanted to
off your
make sure.
title.
Well, is that I guess the thing is that we have to expect setbacks. We have to expect obstacles. I think if we're not, we're then you're going to see, then you're going to give up. So, expect that there's going to be obstacles. You're going this way and you're going to get hit a roadblock. You're going to go that other way and you're going to get tripped up or you're going to fall down down into the hole, so to speak. But you can get yourself out. And then there's tools, there's techniques that I talk about in my chapter in but like the light framework, as well as it sounds like many other authors are covering that also in this book, how to pivot, how to reinvent yourself, how to look at it differently, because I think, we look at it one way, but if I stand over to the left, I see it differently. If I stand to the right, I see it differently this way. If I stand under or over, you just see it differently. So how to be able to view it, and I know we're using visionary, we're using a lot of those same words here, how to see the situation or the problem or whatever differently through new eyes.
Yeah, I love that. As you just said that, I thought about my cat who used to look at everything upside down. Like he would always tilt his head or do it. And one day I was with him and I was like, "What are you seeing up there?" And it just reminded me of, new ways to see the world. So thank you for giving us that and having us look at having a new direction. And I love what you said, each one of you and a lot of the authors had that moment, that choice when that life circumstance happened, that challenge, and you had to either just let that happen or to take charge and make that change. And all three of you did that. And I was so inspired by that. Edie, share with me the most important thing that you want people to know about their business as a being.
Yes. I would say the biggest thing is it's twofold, and I'll be brief. But first one is get some separation. I think when we're in the midst of frustration or wanting to crack this problem, I know for me, I double down, I grab the bulls by the horn, and we're just wrestling. But sometimes you need separation. You go out, go for food, put it down, work on a different part of your business. And then two, use don't be so married to the tools that get you to that state. So I mentioned in the chapter that for some people, this might be too woo woo or the science doesn't land. But the mental exercise of envisioning your business as separate from you is a great exercise that creates that separation. So going through the book, there might be tools and strategies that you're like, I don't know if I believe the actual spiritual mechanics of this, but if doing the exercises can support you, let them support you. Don't feel like you need to be 100% embodied in this belief to use this. Like, take what you need and leave what you don't. So I would say that's what I offer from my chapter and from this book.
And I loved it because you did invite people in instead of pushing them away, acknowledging and honoring that they may not feel that way. But the way that you did that, it was expert. So I can't wait to use your tools. So, yes, Dr. Oliver,
Yes,
tell to us the most important thing you want people to know about vision, faith, and the courage to see before it's seen.
I would say I talk a little bit about this briefly about I want the reader to know that your greatest weakness can also be your greatest strength. I see now clearer because once you lose certain things off of business, maybe you lose the deal, but you got stronger in your conviction. Use it all. Put everything in the same container, the applause, the criticism, the critiques, as
Mm.
well as the celebration. Learn to put that in the same container because sometimes we will put those in different vaults. When things are going good, you got the happy vault, and then you got the sad vault, and you got the in between, the melancholy vault. But just knowing that you celebrate yourself at all levels and be able to know that the end result is you win. And I talk about just printing out my first business failed. I used a business card from a printer, but I went out anyway, right? And so it built a muscle to what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I I was like business card and a belief. I wrote that down. I loved that so much because you didn't know, but you had that belief. And I think for every visionary right now that is here with us and doesn't know that path, I think listening to all three of you, as long as they have that belief and they trust in themselves, in what is laid out and where that passion and igniting is from, that they will be able to create what it is that they want. And thank you so much. So I'm not getting on my soapbox and lit up here, but I want to thank you three for writing and contributing to this book, to doing what you do to change the world and sharing it with everyone. And to our listeners, I know you're lit up right now. This is way more than just this book. This is a generous community who is here for you to answer any questions, to carry on conversations like this one, to support you on your journey. So, if anything that we talked about today resonated with you, please go down to the show notes. We've shared with you all of their links and feel free to explore. I am sure that they're happy to connect with you and share what they have going on. And of course, we hope you hop on over to Amazon and grab a copy of this amazing book today. The link is also below. And then lastly, the Brave Healer community here wants you to know that your words will change the world when you're brave enough to share them. It's time to be brave. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you three so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.